All right, we are with Avi right now, and Avi is one of the most active real estate investors in all of Connecticut. He is one of 3 groups that have done huge amount of deals here and that were showcased here. And he actually just spoke here at the real estate conference. And Avi, if you could talk first about what your business format is, what you guys do, and just kind of what your general day-to-day business operations, what you do.
Okay. Colin, what we do basically is we own a company called the South Street Group. And the South Street Group basically is a company that buys, fixes, and resells, essentially. And we flip and wholesale as well. In the last 3 years, we've turned over about 300 deals, and we process 3,000 leads a year. Okay, and what we try to do is basically our big key point of what we're able to do is how to take a deal that comes in, process it, and figure out what it's worth in 15 minutes and get an offer out. We get out, everyone gets an offer, and we process about 3,000 a year. So.
Awesome. Now you're processing 3,000 leads. You're going to have to analyze and make an offer as quick as possible, and you're going to have to be able to negotiate with someone very strong and be able to do it effectively. What are a couple of things that you do on a day-to-day basis that allows you to negotiate and find a win-win with a seller that needs to move their house?
First of all, as rehabbers, we have to understand this. We have to learn our numbers. Our numbers are, out of 100 people calling me, I can only do 3 deals where I can do a flip. There's a flip opportunity. The rest of them are just retail. Could be good for a realtor or whatever. So basically, when we get them to call in, we really want to capture as much information as possible. And our model basically is this, is number one, we set them at ease. So one of the easy things we like to do is ask them, hey, John, why are you possibly considering selling? A lot of them, when they get a letter, they're like, well, you tell me. So we like to say, hey, John, why are you possibly considering selling? Right away, that disarms them. Okay, and then we basically look into well, here's what we need to do. We give them a little bit of business that we do a lot of business here. We work with a lot of investors. Okay, we try to build some credibility. We're registered with a business bureau. Give them some credibility and just go into, John, let me ask you a couple of questions about your property, and I'll be able to get you an offer within 24 hours. I hope we can make it work for both of us. So basically, I'll ask them conditional questions. I want them to tell me their house is a piece of shit most of the time. So that way I can negotiate better. I like to, if I get as much arsenal so that when I go into it, I can know that. Now, the bigger thing, though, is I want to know why they're considering selling. I need to know that right up front. Hey, John, why are you possibly considering selling? And if he'll tell me it's because of divorce or whatever, I really want to get the real why out there. If I get the real why, very simple, I'll be able to revisit his pain throughout the rest of the conversation. So if they're gutless, if they're a landlord, they hate their tenants, like, boy, can't you wait to get out of that? Boom, boom, boom. And I need to know what they're asking for. But I don't ask them that question until I get more info on the property, so they don't think I'm feeling them out.
Excellent. And as far as for actual negotiation, do you just throw out a number, and if that low number just that insults them, or how do you make it so that you're buying houses at the right price, but you're not upsetting them, you're not making them hang up the phone on you?
Well, first of all, we always like to say is, we talked about this, Colin, is if you're not offending people, you're you're not in the right business, okay? And I don't mean that badly, but the point is there are certain kind of people they know what their property's worth, and they're going to be offended by your offer, and that's okay. All right, we make our money. I always let them know we make our money. We're investors. Obviously, we have to take it over, resell it, and that sort of thing. The way that we basically try to get their price and see if we can make the deal work, number one, is I always like to say is I try not to give them a number. Normally, he or she who gives the first number loses, and the exception to that rule is as long as it's not a low ball. So what we try to do is this, is on the phone while we're running the deal, I run my comps using a database software. Basically, so I get my numbers. I have the 15 comps right next to their house, and what I'll do is I'll ask them for the number, and I'll always proceed that with, John, how did you come up with that number, for example? So then I'll get them, if it's an appraisal, I know that it's got to be 38,000 below that. Okay, now then, if they're not willing to give me a number, which is 25% of the time, I say, listen, John, you know the area way better than I do. I'm not going to pretend to know your area as well as you do, John. But let me ask you this. I have 15 comps right in front of me using Zillow or whatever you use, and then I go to the lowest 2 or 3 comps. Say, well, John, listen, I don't know your neighborhood like you do, but this one up on 123 Main Street, which sold $50,000 less than that, what do you make of that? And then after a while, I go through 2 or 3 of those, they'll tell me the number that they really want. And if I can't get them to come below that number, that deal is not going to work, and I'm on to the next. And all that will take place in 15 minutes. In order to increase our deal flow, we have to be able to evaluate deals on our desktop and not have to go out to the property all the time. So one of the things we learned is get as much information on the phone and don't go to the property until we have basically an agreement from them that they're going to sell their property at what it's worth. So, Colin, for us, that's the number one thing. That way I can evaluate 100 deals a week instead of 5, because if I have to drive out to the property, I'm going to lose 2 hours and may not have a deal. So that's number one. We evaluate them on our desktop and send an offer subject to them not lying to us. So we say, John, this offer is going to stick. If you're telling me there's nothing wrong with your property, here's what you're going to have. Okay. The second tactic we like to use is, in order to increase our cash flow and not have to build no money down, so we like to structure our contracts where we have 121 days to execute on the house. Okay, and during that time we can repair it and show it to other people. So, all right, 95% of our business is done that way. Well, the total sales volume would be, in that case, about $45 million in sales dollars. Okay, and the profitability on that would be about $2 million. So that's what we're hoping to do.
Awesome. So a $2 million company is in the is the goal for next year.
Exactly, and it's all doable, and anyone can do it. You just got to stay plugged in and take massive action, and that's what we're all about.